Hello people, I am JABY KOAY. Joining me is ACHARA KIRK.
Hi.
We watched RAEES, the movie with Shah Rukh Khan. For those of you who don't know anything about this movie at all, just a quick thing from IMDb, criticizing the prohibition of alcohol, prostitution, and illegal drugs in Gujarat. This film unfolds the story of a cruel and clever bootlegger whose business is challenged by a tough cop. And so we've got Shah Rukh Khan, Nawazuddin Siddiqui, Atul Kulkarni, and from TVF, Shiba Chadha. So
yes.
Yeah, I'm sure she's some other things other than TVF, but
that's where we know her from.
That's where we know her from. This was a very, very exciting movie, to say the least. There was a lot of things going on. There was a lot of ideas. This film was like jam-packed with a lot of different things in such a way that I can honestly say I have not seen this movie before. I wasn't what I was expecting from the initial teaser, but what you see in the trailer, the full-length trailer, is a very honest trailer because it shows you pretty much what you're getting from the film in terms of tone, in terms of style, in terms of just like themes and whatnot. I think that the trailer was very, very honest in terms of what you get from the movie. You had a lot to say, because as soon as the movie ended, ACHARA was like, I love this movie.
Yeah.
So we're gonna do non-spoilers first, and then we'll let you know when we get into the spoilers.
Right.
So you go first.
Okay, I really enjoyed the film. It had a lot of entertainment value. I enjoyed the over-the-top action. That was really fun to watch. Shah Rukh Khan just kicking ass left, right, and center.
Shah Rukh Khan was like really built. There was one shot, I don't think this is a big giveaway, but there's one shot when he's doing when
he was shirtless.
When he's shirtless doing the thing on his back. Dude does not look his age. Like,
no.
He looks really good for his age.
I thought that was the body of someone in their 20s.
Yeah.
So there was that, the musical numbers. What interested me a lot about this was, to me, it seemed that it followed that kind of classical Shakespearean or Greek tragedy formula, which is where you have a hero and you follow his journey through ascent and descent, and it all comes down to his fatal flaw, which I believe in this movie, Race's fatal flaw is the classic one, which is hubris, excessive pride. Also, what interested me was that on paper, you look at the protagonist and you're like, Race is not a good guy. He's a criminal, he's a bootlegger, he's smuggling illegal alcohol
he's breaking the
into
law.
The state. And then he does questionable things, and yet he has a lot of redeeming qualities. So you find yourself rooting for him as the good guy, and then Nawazuddin Siddiqui's character, who's the cop, comes along and you're like, well, he's supposed to be the good guy on paper.
Yeah.
And yet you're rooting against him. So I thought that was a very interesting premise of the film.
For me, I like this movie more conceptually. I like a lot of the ideas it was putting forward. For me, it was different because it was trying to put together all these different concepts that I have not actually seen in a single film before, because you got a little bit of Gangs of Wasseypur, you got a little bit of Boardwalk Empire, you got a little bit of John Woo, and a little bit of John Wick. So
all the Johns.
It's all these different ideas, and you got some parkour in there. There's a lot of cool things here. I'm still letting it kind of settle and decide from, if it truly worked for me. I looked at what other critics had to say, and it seemed like it was met with mixed reviews. Like, they were giving it 3 out of 5 or 2.5 out of 5. And so people enjoyed it. It just didn't hit home the way they wanted it to. And I think at the end of the day, I kind of feel the same way. Like, I feel like there's another version of this movie I wanted to see. And that may just be a byproduct of me being an American viewer, projecting my own bullshit onto it. At the end of the day, like, I actually had a lot of moments that I enjoyed, moments where I was laughing, but there were things that I was questioning. I was like, okay, all right, so I have to remove JABY from this, because what happens is when you see all these cool things, you end up like thinking, oh wow, if it came together this way, it would be awesome, and then it doesn't quite go that way. To say the least, love the performances. I love Shah Rukh Khan. I really liked Nawazuddin Siddiqui, and I really love Atul Kulkarni. I have to keep looking at his name over here because I mess it up every time. Atul Kulkarni and Nawazuddin Siddiqui had very grounded, very real performances that I enjoyed quite a bit. I would go back and watch those guys any day of the week, and y'all know that already. So I loved what they did. Let's jump into some of the spoilered stuff. For those who have seen it and want to hear what we have to say, you stick around.
This is for you guys.
Everybody else, go away.
Come back when you've watched it.
Yeah. For me, I don't know how I felt about the ending. Nawazuddin Siddiqui's character has this arc. He goes from being this guy who's like, you know, the Thai and very proper and does everything by the book, and he won't accept bribes, he won't accept alcohol, and he'll fire anyone who wants to cross that line. And then over the course of the story, you're supposed to find that going by the law, going by the book is not working.
No.
It doesn't work anymore. But this is also taking into account that Nawazuddin Siddiqui's character, the cop, is completely ignoring all the good that Shah Rukh Khan's character is doing.
Yeah.
And you don't see the transition, you don't see the struggle of him acknowledging what Shah Rukh Khan's character is doing. First of all, you don't see the transition on screen. It's off screen of him going from being this by-the-book cop to completely breaking the rules and not giving a shit anymore. It's like, first it's one thing and then it's another thing. And this is a common thing in the film where Shah Rukh Khan's wife is supposedly pregnant, right? But it's a flat stomach, and then 5 minutes later there's a baby, right? You don't ever actually see the progress. And so a lot of the film has this thing where it'll introduce an idea and then it'll completely switch. I was hoping for more of the relationship between Shah Rukh Khan and his mom. I just felt like they showed us one scene, and maybe that's enough, but they showed us one scene and they showed one line, and they used that line over and over again throughout the film.
She was in more than one scene, though, to be fair.
It seemed like she was out of the movie really fast.
She was out of the movie
Yeah.
really fast, but at least for me,
Yeah.
I felt like I got it, but I can see how you'd want to see more, or maybe see more of her in a flashback or
Yeah,
something.
there were things I would have liked to have seen done in a different way, particularly at the end. Just as a case in point, Shah Rukh Khan gets shot like 27 times. I'm exaggerating. I'm being super hyperbolic. He gets shot like 5 times and before he dies. This is a problem I had with, even in American films, they do this sometimes, and it's really annoying. In Harry Potter, when Gary Oldman's character gets killed, it's this very slow motion death. In Matrix Revolutions, a terrible film, but Trinity takes forever to die. When a character takes a long time to die, it feels less impactful. When someone just gets killed, it hurts so much more to see that. And it just like, my reference that I like to go to is Anurag Kashyap. The way he killed off characters in Gangs of Wasseypur, it was so unexpected, and it just like, it just knocks you off your socks, you know? I was kind of hoping, there's another version of this movie in my mind off the first teaser, like there's an Anurag Kashyap-esque version of this film that I would have loved to have seen. I wanted to see Shah Rukh Khan be a bad guy, like legit bad guy. This is a perfectly legitimate way to go. There's still this legacy thing from me seeing that first teaser where I legitimately thought Shah Rukh Khan was a villain, and I wanted to see that movie. It's okay that it's not that movie. Like I said, it's still settling, and my like final opinion hasn't quite hit me yet. I think at the end of the day, if I watch it again, I'll enjoy it more. I certainly liked the over-the-topness, like you were saying. Like, there were some fun bits in there. I wasn't expecting it after that first teaser. Like, there's definitely, like, some crazy John Woo stuff, like him shooting behind himself. He becomes a ninja, and that's never explained how he got those skills. He's running on this shanty, and on the rooftops, and he does this dive roll over a stairway, goes under, grabs the pole, and kicks the guy off the stairs. And then, that's not enough. That doesn't kill the bad guy. He has to go up to the top of a 3rd-story building, jump off, double front kick the dude, and his legs aren't broken. Shah Rukh Khan just starts fighting him like the Matrix Reloaded truck fight scene. I'm like, okay, that's happening. So just let it go.
Suspend your disbelief and enjoy. That's what I did for this movie. It was awesome.
I think if I were to watch it again, I would enjoy it more. Watching it the first time, seeing all the ideas, I'm like, I wanted to do this now, but it didn't quite go there. Now, last thing is, because I'm not one to who's a specialist in terms of music, especially from India or Bollywood films, after that whole Rang De Basanti incident. I'm like almost scared to talk about my feelings about music, but I didn't enjoy the music breaks as much as you did.
Yeah.
I know you enjoyed it more. The instrumental music, not non-lyrical music throughout the film.
Yeah. Did you like it?
I enjoyed it for the most part. Like, I would say 70% of the time I enjoyed it, but when it wanted me to feel emotional, the music came in too strong for me and distracted me from the emotion I wanted to feel.
Right.
Like, there's a scene when, at the very beginning, the mom says, business is this, religion is this, etc. That's the same quote that's used throughout the movie.
It's the basis of his philosophy for business and life.
Right. When she said that, the music kicked in hard. When he said this to the guy who protects him, as a grown-up later on. Moosa. When Shah Rukh Khan repeats it to Moosa, the music kicks in hard, and I'm like, I would have felt it if the music didn't do that personally. But I recognize I'm not the target audience. I totally understand that. And so I just try to accept it. But I would have liked it if that was just dialed back, because the other music in the film was so cool. It felt like a 70s soundtrack or something like that.
It was really fun.
Yeah, it felt kind of retro in that way. And so I enjoyed most of it. There was just some parts where I was like, I wish it was less. Just a little bit less. Overall, I wish a little bit less was throughout the film. I would have liked more focus on relationships. Shah Rukh Khan's relationship to Nawazuddin, Shah Rukh Khan's relationship to his mom, Shah Rukh Khan's relationship to his wife and baby. I felt like somehow that got lost because the film was trying to do so much that I would have totally preferred it if it was a series like Boardwalk Empire rather than a feature film.
There was a lot to cover. You know, it was his whole life, starting from childhood up until the very end. So yeah. Maybe if it had been a series, they could have taken the time more.
What I would have really liked, now thinking about it, if you guys have ever seen Breaking Bad, one of the big questions that comes up is morals. Like, why is it wrong if someone wants to do something with their body? It's their body. Why shouldn't they be allowed to do whatever they want with it? Because it's talking about drugs, and you know, Walter White makes drugs and sells it. And so I would have liked to have seen some kind of discussion about that, because it never actually came up. It's just a thing of crime, and Shah Rukh Khan's breaking the law. It never comes up where Shah Rukh Khan has a dialogue with Nawazuddin going, why does this matter? Why is there a law against this anyway? This is ridiculous. This is prohibition law. It never comes up, and I would have liked to have seen a dialogue about that.
It makes us think as an audience as well, because you see him doing all these bad things, you know, crime, murder, all of that, and yet he has a strong set of principles, like any hero. Even though he's an anti-hero, he has his set of principles, and he does good for his community with that money that he made illegally. So you question yourself. You're like, well, the law tells me that he's a bad person, but he does some bad things, but then he balances that out by doing some really good things for people, and they really love him. So
it almost reminded me of Pablo Escobar or Narcos? I forget the name of the show on Netflix. Except Shah Rukh Khan's character was better than Pablo Escobar, because he didn't want any innocent lives to get killed, and that's when he just completely drew the line, and his character experienced his greatest downfall because he realized he had contributed to the loss of innocent lives, which was totally against his code. That switchover was another great moment to me. It's like, that was a great concept. I just wish that they had fed us some hints that the guy who was protecting him was some kind of religious extremist. That kind of came out of left field, and I'm like, no, but okay, if you just kind of drop me a hint or two, then that would have been perfect. But they never set it up. It was just dropped in like, oh, by the way, he's a terrorist, extremist, religious guy, and Shah Rukh Khan hates that, so he's gonna kill you now.
It was a massive betrayal, especially that bit. The bit where he's betrayed by his first boss and then by that second guy. It had all the Shakespearean tones in it.
Really?
Yeah, just like, oh, I've been betrayed. And I was thinking, Julius Caesar!
I guess in looking at it with that lens, you can appreciate the film a lot more, because Shakespeare is kind of very dramatic. It's very heightened, and so is this film. It's very heightened. My last point is this, and this is the very last thing I'm going to say, because this is getting to be really long. I know it's heightened. I know it's like Shah Rukh Khan's the action hero, but what's missing from action heroes today, both in India, from what I can see, and in America, what I can definitely see, is the John McClane factor. John McClane, for those of you who don't know, is from Die Hard. That's Bruce Willis's character. And what made Die Hard special is that this guy was getting destroyed in the film. Really getting destroyed to the point like you were wondering if he was going to make it to the end. I had no doubt in my mind Shah Rukh Khan was going to make it to the end. He turned himself in, and I wanted to see a showdown between him and Nawazuddin rather than just what it was. I wanted to see something bigger and more epic, for the rest of the film being as epic as it is. But in the course of that, I wanted to see Shah Rukh Khan get fucked up, and still, despite getting fucked up, he's still crawling to the finish line his way. You know what I mean? Like when he jumped off the roof. I mean,
he did get hurt a little bit.
A little bit, not enough. Like when he jumped off the roof and double kicked the guy, he should have got his leg should have been fucked up or something, and he still is gonna kick your ass even with a broken leg. That's how tough I wanted him to be, rather than just invincible. Now I know he fainted after one fight scene. I know that happened. I'm not retarded. I'm not oblivious. I know that happened, but it's like I needed more where he something had to break. Something had to impair his ability. He needed to get shot once before the end of the movie. He's blasting bullets everywhere. There's all these bullets are flying. Not one dude can hit him, not one person. Why? He wasn't trained in the military. He wasn't trained in jiu-jitsu. He wasn't trained in anything. He's just a bootlegger who's got magical properties, and I don't know why. So that's all I'm getting at. Like a little bit more John McClane infused into this, and so yes, I'm done with my bullshit. I'm sorry. ACHARA's the best. ACHARA's the best. ACHARA's right about everything. I get it.
No, it's a fun movie.
Yes.
If you like that sort of thing, if you want to see Shah Rukh Khan kick some butt, and yeah, I say go do it. Watch it.
I enjoyed Fan more. Between the two, because those are the two. I know you haven't, but those are the two Shah Rukh Khan movies I've seen so far, and I know Fan didn't do that well from what I heard, but I enjoyed that film more than this. You should see Fan, actually. His performance as the young guy, the Fan, is actually really good. Anyways, you guys, thanks so much for listening to me rant. I hope I didn't upset anyone too much with my nonsense. I know ACHARA's opinion is supreme.
We have different opinions, and so will you guys. So you guys should check it out, and then tell us what you think.
I'm just hating on myself now.
Just preempting.
Just like pummeling myself into the ground. Anyways, you guys, thanks for hanging out. Please check out ACHARA KIRK on the social media. Subscribe to the channel if you have not already. I am JABY KOAY. This is
ACHARA KIRK.
Peace out.